into their character. I have a dream today.
The time is now. We started this company because we wanted to represent something bigger than us. And this is bigger than us. And we would not be who we were if we did not pause and take a moment to sit in solidarity with our people.
Although life has shifted significantly, our mission has not. Our mission has always been and will always be to be a part of something that will really impact the culture and change lives. Our responsibility is to celebrate Black excellence, bask in the gloriousness of Black culture, and continue to amplify the voices that should be heard.
The following video is a conversation between the beautiful women of the Black Girl Podcast and the PYNK Lemonade Production Director, Khrystina Blanks, showcasing the complexities of life and the lessons that come with it that will allow us to grow and become our greatest selves.
We hope that in these messages, you will be inspired to achieve your wildest dreams and know that you are extraordinary even in the midst of chaos and uncertainty.
Let this serve as a reminder that your mission is far from done. It's only the beginning, and that your voice has the power to impact millions around the world.
And while you're doing so, always remember, keep it sweet.
I just want to start off with everything that has been going on right now in the media, and I just wanted to get your take on exactly how you're feeling.
How am I feeling day by day? I mean, this time of quarantine, during this time of pandemic, I have just been doing a lot of, I hate the word soul searching because it's so cliche, but for lack of a better term, that. So within that time, for me, I'm using this time to just kind of explore who I am, what my Blackness is, what that means to me. Just exploring, and unlearning a lot of the things that I was, raised on, and just trying to understand who I am more so and what I can contribute to my society. So on top of that, self-work that I'm doing during a quarantine and, having to do with, seeing Black men, Black women constantly being killed, constantly on our feeds, constantly seeing, these images over and over and over has been very, very, very exhausting, very draining, very heartbreaking. If you're quarantined with a friend who is a brother, a cousin, a boyfriend, a brother-in-law, or whomever, the weight that they're carrying is so heavy and it's so loud and it's so potent in the space that you're existing in with them. It makes it almost unbearable to be happy, to try to find some peace in everything that's going on. I know personally, on the day that George Floyd passed and the videos were, coming out, so many people, so many men specifically were reaching out to me, just talking to me and crying and being upset and angry. People saying, I don't know what I'm going to do the next time I have to be the bigger person. That's a lot to take in and deal with and not be able to move because we're on quarantine. So just for me personally, it's just been a lot to process, a lot to try to make better, a lot to try to find what I can do to help. It's just been overwhelming.
Yeah, very understandable. Gia, how are you feeling?
Hey, yeah, I'm still taking it like day by day. For Black people to have to deal with so many combinations of trauma and heaviness and the way the world is in a pandemic, in a global crisis where people don't have jobs, people don't have opportunities, people don't have ways to make life easier and live a life that they could be like proud of right now because they don't even have an income. On top of that, you have to turn on the news and see all of these images. Obviously, Ahmaud was the first story that really made people be super upset during the quarantine. That then people realized, oh, well, Breonna Taylor as well. And then on top of that, George Floyd saying again, I can't breathe, really just sends all of us, I think it sent everybody over the edge. I think we're living in a time where this is a tipping point for this country. I don't think this will come out of quarantine or this moment looking the same. I think the importance of social media in many ways, it's very annoying because you have to deal with trolls and you have to deal with the Trumpers, and you got to deal with the people who are very annoying when but they speak in their mind. I mean, hey, it's whatever. But you also have people who now have, I think, have been able to put mirrors up to our friends, and even some of us who weren't comfortable speaking, just to say like, yo, this time, like right now, we really have to speak. And I think that's been a really awesome way to see people just show up. And the first time ever that there's been 50 protests in all 50 states is ill, just seeing everybody show up for people that look like you and me. And so for me, I'm just taking it all in. It's a day by day like process. Like some days I wake up and I feel, ready to engage with everything that's happening on social media. And some days I'm like, yeah, nah, I can't do it today. I appreciate everything that's happening. But I need mental space. So it's really just a day-to-day like fight for me to figure out like what I can do, how I can make things better, because I don't think that any of our platforms are used in vain. So I'm just like, okay, so what can I do to make sure that I'm doing my piece of the puzzle of this social movement that's happening right now and the physical movement. So I'm just figuring it out as a human being, just trying to figure it out day by day.
Right. So, Scotty, I saw that you were also protesting out there with everybody in Newark. So, how was that? What was that experience like?
It was a beautiful thing to see. I mean, it's my first time protesting in Newark. A lot of people came out. Even, my little brother was out there marching. I right now feel both ways. I think Gia had said prior, I am both helpless and also want to help. I want to have my hands in everything, but at the same time, I don't know where to start. I don't know how to grab all of it at once. I don't know, if this is effective. I don't know if we're, I'm all, trying to deal with all these different thoughts in my head, and trying to organize my thoughts. I've been journaling. I told the girls, in our last podcast episode, I'm trying to learn how to journal, how to organize my thoughts, how to, because I'm angry. I'm very upset. My heart breaks every time I hear a story, but my heart breaks even more when, when we learn of someone else who didn't get the, reporter or the media, or, there's so many Black lives that have, died and nobody has reported about it. Nobody has shown light on it. So, it's happening all the time. It's happening every day. Every day somebody is silenced. Every day a Black life feels like they're not heard, they're not seen. They're just not visible at all. So I am struggling right now. It is, like everybody has been saying, it's day by day. And it's even more frustrating that we have another pandemic going on, which is COVID-19. And, for those people that want to be out in the streets, that want to be out, and do some actionary thing, like be actually in the streets, we can't even do that. You know what I'm saying? So I protested for about 2 hours. And then I was like, okay, I have to, also respect that there's a health issue going on right now. So I need to go home. But yeah, I it's stressful. I'm in a different space than, I think when Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown was happening, I also was protesting back then too. But I think I'm a bit older now. I was angry then and I'm angry now, but I think I have more resources to try to help. Younger me didn't know what the hell to do. I was just angry and screaming, and which is all right and okay. And I respect that. I respect anybody that does that, but I also need to think about how I can help the next person. So yeah, that's it.
That's very, very real. Especially you mentioning Trayvon Martin. Myself, I was in high school when that happened. So I felt like a target. And that was very, very hard to deal with, growing up in Brooklyn, just trying to make it every single day and knowing that I could be next. If somebody that doesn't look like me just doesn't like me, they can end my day. You know what I'm saying? So it's really hard to now see that it's just across the board. Mm-hmm. If you're not white, you're a target. Mm-hmm. And that's really hard to deal with, especially in a pandemic. Like you also mentioned, you want to be out there with your people, but then you got to come home and you may infect the ones that you love. So it's either you go out there and risk your life and others, and then you come home and then risk that. It's a lot, to balance. So, Bex, how are you doing? How are you? Are you able to balance things out?
To be honest, before, all of this even happened, quarantine itself and COVID itself has already left my personal state in a very raw place, where everything just feels disorganized. Spirit, mentality, mood, emotion, everything just feels displaced. So trying to organize and place, the most justified or right emotion to what's going on, while taking care of people that are around me that are feeling what's going on. I'm sorry, my voice is shaking because it's just a lot. It's very tough trying to balance what you're going through versus what the world is going through. Trying to shield myself from murder porn, trying to shield myself from being desensitized to seeing people murdered and dead in the street, but feeling an obligation to see these things, to know exactly what it looks like when someone is losing their life or desperately pleading for their life not to leave their body, or calling out for someone to save them. Like, it's intense. It's intense. And every day is, deciding between taking a break and being to myself, remaining quiet, and journaling, some meditative practice, or completely letting myself fall apart, or bringing myself to the edge of, or even crying with those that are affected by the news, Black men in my life that are affected by the news, that just don't know what to do, that are desperate for something to change, that are affected by what's going on, whether they're in the streets or not. Friends of mine who are in the streets, who have PTSD, who are in the streets being re-traumatized every moment. It's just a lot. It's a lot. I am grateful for what's going on right now. It is highly necessary. And every day is just a matter of, like Scotty said, knowing what to do and how to do it, what's effective, what's going to produce results, what's going to produce resolve, and making sure that your efforts touch what's going on, making sure your efforts actually affect what's going on, and push the movement forward or support the movement that's going on right now. It's just really all just accepting that it's all raw, it's all now, it's all in your face, and just accepting what reality is, and trying to find the best way to console yourself, console the people that you love, and also console, the movement that's going on in the streets right now, and support the movement.
Right. And that's very beautiful that you are in touch with everything. because some people are very, very in tune with their emotions and feeling for others. And then there are some that we see it so much that now it's just starting to become normal, not because we want it to, but that's the agenda that they're pushing on us. And so we become numb to it. And it's wild. It's so wild. So, Safira, how exactly are you coping? Specifically, how are you maintaining your activity on social media?
The good thing about what I do, my social media activity, is something that I would be doing if we didn't have social media. And I'm grateful for that. And that's dancing. So I get up every morning and I lead a stretch from my Instagram page. And then I also do a stretch with Sass, and I call it the Classic Edition on the my Facebook platform for the elders and seniors of the community. So in doing that, it has kept me sane. It has helped me to stay healthy. It has helped me to, really work out a lot of kinks that I may gather on from whatever day's work or whatever is happening in the world. I've been really, like I told the girls, I've been telling all my friends, it's just super essential that you really take care of yourself in this moment and realize what's happening, because I feel like with everything that's been going on, like Scotty said, Gia said, it's been happening for years. We were dragged here from a different land 500 years ago, and they have just kept on hyping it up every single year. This is 500 years of nonsense that we're dealing with. So I support the riots. I support the protests. I know that some of the riots are incited by other racial, aggressors, but turn up, because enough is enough. And that's that.
That's right. I'm definitely with you. Definitely with you. So Black Girl Pod, you guys are definitely, well, you've already made your mark on the culture, but you guys are definitely becoming a staple in the culture, because I haven't seen this before. Me personally, I haven't seen 5 amazing, beautiful Black women talk about so many things and being vulnerable. And that's very, very hard, especially, coming from our community. We don't like to talk. So being able to listen to you guys, for hours, not watching, but listening to multiple episodes, you're able to inspire so many young Black girls and Black boys to open up, to talk about different things, that it's okay to feel however you want to feel, because there are people that look like you that feel the same way that you do. And that's really important. Starting Black Girl Pod, this is the 4th year, right? It's going on the 4th year.
Oh my God, I had to do the math.
It's going into the 4th year.
Right? It's going into 4th year. So congratulations on that.
That, sis.
Yeah, so 4 years doing this, where do you see Black Girl Pod going? Like, its growth? Do you see it becoming a TV show or getting a deal with Netflix? Like, what are you speaking into existence? Y'all want to sell some CDs, go back in days, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely out of the trunk. For sure, selling CDs out of the trunk. No, I'm
okay.
Taking it back. No, shoot. I don't think any of us are going to pigeonhole ourselves into anything, because none of us thought we would be here making an impact in the way that we do, for being ourselves and speaking how we speak in this way, right? So like, none of us thought we would be making livings off of being who we are, like if you would have asked us this 10 years ago. So who knows what is happening, what could happen in 10 years. Watch out, Oprah, The Real. We could have a network. Who knows? But all I do know is we're open to growing and building more spaces and more conversations and more movements where Black women are centered, where our voices are centered, where we feel affirmed and heard. And if there are, I think with us, it's difficult because even when we've had deals or you know, even like deals are coming to us, because it's not like they don't come, they come. It just gets kind of murky when you're like, okay, you sign with a major company and they're like, well, just watch those certain conversations. And you like, hold up, we can't watch nothing now. People already know exactly how we feel about 80% of what we talk about. Like if we all of a sudden switched up and had a conversation about, you know, Black Lives Matter, and then we had to be that doesn't happen these days because a lot of companies now realize they have to actually say it. But say like, shoot, a month ago, if somebody would have approached us with the deal and this was happening, and in the contingency plan, it was like, you can't say this, and that about certain organizations, and you know, like it would be real. So I think, you know, I think we're very cognizant of what our brand means to people. We're cognizant of our vulnerability and our truth and our authenticity. So it looks like partnering with a brand that makes sense for us. But I would love to see a talk show because I think all of us are just gorgeous and funny and beautiful and people like to look at us. And no, I would like to see a talk show.
I RTG you. I retweet.
Okay, so that's actually a perfect segue because I really want to know. So coming up, what are some goals that you set in place as a Black woman? And were they realistic goals in the beginning? Like, what was the struggle in coming up with how to get to where you are right now?
Well, I had to
just the
learn
clearest picture
that a lot of these places, a lot of these brands, anybody that you work for somehow will try to censor who you are and how, like, who you are got you into the door, got you into the building, got you into this job. And, you know, if you censor who you are, you don't have much after that. You know, you really have to be 100% yourself. Be what you think Blackness looks like. Because again, we say it all the time, there's not one way to be Black. So show them who you are, show them why you're here. Do not apologize for being who you are. That was something that I had to learn too, with trying to suppress my passion. I'm a very passionate person. I love music. I love Black people. I love them so much, and I feel it with all of my heart. I feel it with every fiber of my being. And I have no problem doing that or being that now. Before, I used to want to try to mute certain or numb certain parts of my body because I thought that was the way. I have to be hard. I have to be, you know, heartless and mean and, you know, make sure that I'm standoffish so that nobody will fuck with me and blah, blah. Can I curse? I can curse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nobody would fuck with me and all these other things. And although that is part of me a little bit, I do not like to be fucked with. But I love love, and I love loving on Black creatives. And I love, you know, sharing light. I love standing in the light with my fellow Black creatives. So yeah, that's what I decided to do. But it was all a learning experience. And sometimes it's still a learning experience. There's times where I catch myself. There are times where I have to do a wellness check real quick and be like, all right, you are burning the oil a little too much. You don't have any oil left now. So yeah, I think that's a goal that I didn't know that I needed, but I got at the end.
Right, exactly. And that's all a part of the journey. Because I know that I set some unrealistic goals at the time, you know, just growing up.
That's why I don't set no goals sometimes, because you can disappoint yourself that way.
Right, and that's what you learn, because coming up, in school and stuff, you think, okay, structure. You need to set your goals and you have to meet your goals. And after this, you have to go up. When in actuality, you do not know. You don't know. You just have to learn along the way. So that's a really good point that you made.
What to you is an unrealistic goal? I am curious.
I was just about to ask.
Yeah.
So an unrealistic goal to me as a young Khrystina that did not know herself, that did not understand that she was beautiful, she was intelligent, creative, was being a media mogul. That was an unrealistic goal for me, but I always had it in the back of my head.
Question. Are you not a media mogul right now?
Yeah.
Oh, I am. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I just,
yes.
The only reason why I asked that is because I don't think there's a thing anymore as unrealistic goals, right? Like, I think it becomes a little bit dated when we say to ourselves or people who look like us in this age of the internet where you have a laptop, you can have a show, you can be the next Issa Rae and put on your own show from a dimly lit apartment and rap to yourself and end up having a deal with HBO. Unrealistic goals really aren't a thing anymore. Like, absolutely, you can be a media mogul. You are a media mogul. Someone that looks at you is inspired by you and is going to try and follow your steps and create their own path. I think for me, goal setting is awesome because it just reminds you of where you would like to see yourself. And a lot of the times what happens is you'll work towards that one goal, and then you'll end up doing something that ends up being totally different from what you actually thought. But then in a few years, that goal will come out of nowhere and you'll be like, oh snap, I guess I am doing that now. So I guess I still did it. So, I think there's a portion of it that's like, yeah, you have to kind of have to figure out how to mold your expectations for timing. But I think goal setting is still a healthy thing to do as long as you understand that it's not going to look and turn out how you want it to be. Mm-hmm. You can have a goal, you can have a dream, you can have something that is going to make you want to continue to work, because I think we all need a North Star, whether that looks like a purpose, whether that looks like a place, whether that looks like a thing, whether that looks like a person for yourself that you want to be. I think there is healthiness in having a North Star. I think you just have to be more flexible in how you move towards your dreams. And I think
flexibility.
Like unrealistic goal, take it back, because you are realistically a mogul right now.
Yes.
And I just wanted to
my life. Thank you.
I just wanted to also piggyback off of what G was saying, like the importance in setting goals is that there's so much power that lies in the tongue. So like that point when G is talking about, you may have come up with a goal that was like from 5 years ago, and then it comes back around like 10 years later. Some of that stuff is happening to me right now. So that really touched me. So it's very important when you are setting these goals to be intentional, be sure about what you're writing down, what you're putting out into the atmosphere, what you're praying about, because it's going to happen. It might not happen tomorrow. It might not happen in 3 months, but it's going to happen.
For people who don't know exactly what they want to do, because I'm one of those. So I don't set goals because I do not know. I have touched 17 lanes. Okay. So, and lanes that I never knew that I would be able to touch. So I don't set those goals where I'm like, I'm going to be this by this time, in this place. And I can't do that, because if you told me, 18-year-old me who was setting goals and was like, I'm going to have kids, I'm going to be married, I'm going to have a fire-ass job by 30, and, I'm going to be living in a penthouse in New York, in Brooklyn, I would be disappointed. You know what I'm saying? But I try to keep them as general as possible. I know I have a purpose. My goal is to fulfill that purpose. Whatever that purpose may be, it may change. We all change, and it may change within 10 years, 7 years, however many years, but my purpose will change. So that's why I try not to give myself too many goals. I try to go with the flow and go and lead with my heart and lead with what, passion tells me to do. But Gia is completely right. I'm just speaking for those who set time limits. And I am one of those time limits people sometimes back then. If I didn't have my life together at 30, if I didn't get my life together by 25, I'm a mess. Give up. It's done. You have nothing else to give. So, manifestation is a real thing. It is. And there is power in the tongue. As long as you know that you have a purpose, I think you can move from there.
I think it's really important to understand the idea of fulfillment, and fulfillment not coming from people, places, and things. When you start defining what your goals are you placing your desires and wants into tangible items, into a executive title, into a certain amount of zeros in your bank account? If so, and that brings you some type of fulfillment internally from your spirit, then that's fine. But, when you start discounting the achievements that you've accomplished in your life, or goals that you've set, or maybe have shifted, or detours you've taken, don't discount what you've done, because in some way, shape, or form, they've still spoken to your purpose. They've still spoken to a moment or a piece of you that you are striving to fulfill. And usually fulfillment doesn't come from things that are of the world. It comes from things of providing service. It comes from things of, reaching peace for yourself, being a supporter to your family, being the first to cross a goal mark, which, whether it be college, whether it be owning your own business, whether it be the first to start legacy and bring in a generation, or whatever it is. Just don't discount what it is that you achieve just because it's not like a title. It still feeds into the fulfillment of what you want for your life.
And to piggyback off of what she's saying, I think once you start really doing the self-healing work, you're going to realize how tangible all those goals you thought were unrealistic actually are. I think as Black women, we tend to be in spaces and places or around people who have, made us question our worth. And I think once we really truly hone in on the magic that we are, everything is literally going to fall into place. And I'm telling you from just actual experience of actually doing the work. And I'm low-key shaking because hearing myself talk about it right now is almost like I'm outside of myself, because that's not what I would be. That's not how I would respond a year ago. That's not how I responded 10 years ago. So once you start really doing the self-work and really start honing in to your magic and your potential, not even your potential, your actual skill set, your actual ability, your actual purpose, all of those things become more and more realistic every single day. That is just me living like a living testament of what I've been able to experience within just the last 3 months of putting those things into effect. And what's going to end up happening as well is that things are just going to start flying into your realm that you never thought would even come out of it would just fall on your lap. And you're going to be like, well, where did this come from? And that's all because alignment is bringing you right to where you need to be. Back to what Gia is saying, it'll take you exactly where you need to go.
Things will also start falling off. Things that are not necessary, things that are not meant for you will start falling literally off, disappearing. And I just want to testify. I just want to say today, it's not up to you to figure out how to bring it back onto you.
It's really the church are open. It's really not up to you, y'all.
That waist, Safira. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Just fight off right now.
Never heard of her.
That clap all in the video.
What is a waist?
What is a waist? Cannot relate.
You guys are giving me and everybody else watching a word right now.
Right.
Speaking to that, what is the first step? Because, Scotty, you really spoke to me personally because I've been all over the place. Because I don't come from a family of creatives in media and stuff like that. So I was one of the first people in my family to be like, no, so I'm going to stick to a camera. I wanted to be a doctor to please other people. And then I realized that that's not something that I can even handle. I can't, the emotional stuff that comes with, because I wanted to be an obstetrician and deliver babies. I thought all babies lived, and it doesn't happen like that. So I stuck to the camera, and that's what I love, being creative and creating beautiful images. And so doing that, I was still all over the place. I didn't have a lot of examples, and I didn't know where exactly to go. So a question to all of you, what is the first step to, one, getting to know yourself and getting to know where you fit in your career?
I did everything. I did everything wrong. I did everything right. I did everything wrong. I tried everything.
That's real.
At least you knew that it had something to do with the camera. So
Yeah.
You're already ahead of me in that way. I didn't know what to do. See, my mom is a creative. She is a radio personality. But I tried my hardest back then to try to get away from that vision, because I am Shayla's daughter. I'm only Shayla's daughter. I want to be seen as Scotty Beam. I don't know how to see, and I wanted other people to see me as Scotty and not Shayla's daughter. So I tried to stay out of the radio scene. I did everything else. Name it, I've tried it. Anything in entertainment, I've, interned at labels, and then I did concerts and worked in concerts, and worked at a fashion streetwear brand because I thought that I wanted to be a designer. I've done pretty much, I've literally had my hands in anything that spoke to me. And that's important though. I think that's something that you have to do. Back then, of course, it was like you're wasting time, you're wasting money, but actually that moment and those moments is where I've learned the most. And I think that it's very important for you to know what you're not good at too, and be real with yourself. I think it was the first time where I said, hey, I'm not the greatest designer. Maybe it's not designing what I want to do. I just like wearing clothes. Maybe, you have to learn how to be real with yourself. And I think around that time, that's when I started to be more honest. And also give myself grace in certain spaces too. Maybe I should try radio. Maybe I should give this a try. You don't know how good you are at it. I think I talked to myself the most during those times. I had to have a lot of sit downs with myself to figure out what I needed to do. So I think that was the first step, was just trying everything and see what exactly I like. That's what I love most about the early 20s. What I love most about the 18s and 19s is you don't necessarily have to stick to anything. You don't have to commit to anything. You can try all things, and I'm trying to make that a reality now. And, I'm about to be 30 this year, but I still want to try so many things. So I think the learning lesson was that doesn't have to stop. I can still do so many things. I can still try many things, but that was the first step. My first step is actually what started my career, was basically trying and learning how to do everything. So yeah.
I'm going to answer from a perspective of what I wish I could have told my younger self, because I don't really know if I had any steps that were taken. I would say give yourself the grace. We don't allow ourselves to the time to just figure it out. We're kind of echoing what Deani is saying. When you don't give yourself that grace to just process and live and be in the world, you're not gonna necessarily know what it is that you want to do. You have to be able to not be so hard on yourself and not be a perfectionist, not be, content with the ideas of what you have as your setup of a perfect story. So I think if I were to, tell myself anything, it would just be girl, give yourself the grace to live. Give yourself the grace to learn new things. It's just we just give ourselves, we're just so hard on ourselves. And I really want us to start looking at it from an outside perspective, from a different lens of just like, that's not necessary to become successful. I feel like the success stories that I, always admire are always coming from women who are free, who are like, okay with the idea of dipping into one thing and then dipping into another thing and learning a new craft on your own. But I think once you allow yourself the grace, you will become free. You will be able to take off.
I would say befriend your curiosity and make that your road dog. Because you're never gonna, once you reach a certain point, you're gonna realize that you never stop learning. And it's just never going to be the case. And what you should do now is acknowledge your curiosity, and not miscorrectly title it as your immature side or your juvenile side. Like, let your inner child in some way, shape, or form guide you, because that's what fuels the curiosity. That's what fuels your interest. That's what fuels your bravery and your courage. Because you think about it, kids don't have any limits to like what they say, what they do. It's freedom until they are socialized and they realize, oh, I can't this and that, and then ceilings start to appear. But befriend your curiosity. That's your road dog. If you find interest in something that has nothing to do with what you're doing right now, Google that bitch and make it a self-care Sunday routine, or make it every Monday you do this, or something that just feeds you because you had a desire to figure out what that was, or to embrace that part of something that wasn't a part of your life that now is. So befriend your curiosity, and take her with you, him, her, it, she, we, they, everywhere with you. It's necessary. It's necessary.
Representation. I think first steps are weird, right? Because, we all, when you're young, you want somebody to just tell you, girl, okay, when you take this step, it's going to lead to the rest of your career and you're going to blow up and this is it. Nah, girl, it's probably going to take about 300,000 steps and then 400,000. And that's okay. I think the first step is deciding that you believe in yourself and your dreams and your capacity and your talent enough to go for it all. Like, you believe in yourself enough to be like, hey, look here, okay? I'm going to bet on me. I don't know if it's going to work out in the way that I think, but I believe in myself enough to know that I have to follow this path while it's in front of me. And if there's a reason why you believe that you're supposed to be in these places that you dream of or that you see yourself at, then just try to get there. And if that looks like, like everybody has said, like figuring out where you want to go by trying everything, or Googling and becoming friends with curiosity, or letting go, or just going for it. Like, there's so many processes, but I think like the very first initial step is to, as cliche as it sounds, believe in your talent and who you are, because you can go into any office in the world. For me, it was all through interning, and my dad is a journalist, but he's in hard news, and he was like, look, ain't no such thing as entertainment journalism, okay? So I don't know what the hell you about to be doing in 5 years, but this ain't that. Because back in like 2012, when I graduated from college, it was a recession. It was everything was crazy. It was a hard time in America, and I interned in like 5 places and I didn't have a job offer. So for me, I think I had to still decide, like, even though my parents were like, look, you're going to just have to move to Biloxi and be a one-man band and go into hard news and figure it out. I was like, nah, I went to school in New Jersey so I could be close to New York. So I'm going to stay in New York and I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to navigate and I'm going to just hustle. And I think for me, I was one of those kids where my mom would ask us like every day after school, like, what are the 5 things you want to be? And what do you want to do? And I wanted to be a veterinarian, but like you said, I know you had to go to medical school for all that. I thought you could just watch a dog and that would be your friend and that would be it. So that didn't work out for me. I was a singer. Again, I'm not the type to ever box myself in. Y'all might hear a track. Okay. And then, anything creative, and then it was media. And so I was like, okay, well, I know how to tell stories. I know how to be in front of the camera. I grew up on stage. I know how to like present myself. I know how to do that. But even then, along your journey, you have to unlearn so much and figure out what is for you and how you do it in your way, and get out of the comparison game and all that stuff, and figure out how your journey looks. So I definitely say the first step, though, is believing, because when you enter into a space, especially if you're going to be a person who's in front of the camera, like a front-facing brand, if you walk in there like, hey, so I kind of want to do this thing, and I kind of think like it would be cool if like you would just put me in front of the camera. They were like, I don't even want to sit in conversation with you now. Like, what are you talking about? So you have to really believe. You got to own it. You got to walk in there and be like, hi, my name is da 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 da, and I believe this, and I can talk to these three things. Like, understand what you're trying to do initially, and I think believing in yourself is that first step.
So I would definitely have to say a mixture of everything that everyone said, but also definitely like honing in on your relationships and making sure that the relationships you want within the industry you're entering in are solid, because that's really all that you have at the end of the day in this thing. And for me, where I'm at right now in my career, I feel like I've been very nostalgic to a lot of things, and that's allowed me to, you know, take care of the necessary relationships, because I grew up in dance. So essentially I grew up in performing arts. And so I feel like I have to give an ode to my parents for allowing me to be a creative child. And that then thus has birthed a creative adult. And everything that I'm doing now, it just is a full circle of life. Everything just relates back to everything that I've had since I was a child. So I am fortunate, I am blessed and grateful for the opportunity to have grown up through the arts and in a creative background. And my parents are actually educators, so that's like even doubly blessed, because they just allowed both my brother and myself to live freely and understand the world that we lived in. So even like going back to the question you had asked us earlier, one of my goals is actually to be able to still teach people the things that I have learned as a child, because I am grateful that my parents kept us in Pan-African schools. I'm grateful my mother and father allowed me to go to HBCU. And I have been fortunate as a Black woman in America to be enriched and learn my culture. So that is definitely one of my goals. But yeah.
Yes, ladies, you guys are really speaking to me. Like, for real. This is like a group therapy session, and I'm receiving all of it, okay? So my last question, what exactly are you guys doing at home to have fun? I know that I have been having fun with these versus battles, okay? And, you know, I get my versus battle on, hook it up to the speakers. I got my little shorts and my t-shirt, and I'm dancing. I'm having a great time. So how are you guys doing in quarantine? What are you doing to stay happy, or to at least have happy moments, you know, and everything that's going on?
Well, definitely, like you said, Versus has been a blessing. The last Versus was definitely a major blessing with Kirk Franklin and Fred Hammond. I think that was tremendously needed at this time, and they are both outstanding 90s great gospel artists. But also, you know, watching TV, honestly, like, because what's really funny to me, especially these last couple of weeks, I had caught up on Handmaid's Tale at the beginning of quarantine, and I caught up on a few other shows that are like post-apocalyptic or just like, you know, have that whole vibe. And honestly, this whole week I've been having some flashbacks, like, okay, well, this is what was going on in Gideon, so hey, why not? But no, on a more serious note, it has been like television, what they were able to put out pre-quarantine has been really good, informative stuff. If you're able to find, you know, the content that is out there, it's been good. And then, of course, dancing has been, like I said, getting me straight on through. Any type of dance you want, tap, African, ballet, jazz, hey, I got you. But yeah, that's it.
That's who else? Who else has been doing some great things at home?
Great things, not sure, but good enough. No, I'm just kidding. I'm quarantined with my family here in the DC area in DMV. I've been home for a long time. I don't even know when I came. March 18th. Oh God, yes. It feels like high school again, right? Like you are back in your family space. But me and my sister have been here, and it's been really cool just enjoying my sister. She's just a ball of light and like mad funny and silly, and we are each other's type of silly. So we can do like those long, never ending jokes, or like go somewhere and see someone and not have to speak and be laughing. Like, it's nice. My mom is hilarious, annoyingly hilarious, but hilarious. So enjoying her, enjoying my dad's dad jokes, which are still dad jokes after 30 plus years. And they're great to just really just see, how awesome my family is, like the loved ones that I have, FaceTiming with my little brother, being on FaceTime for like 2.5 hours until our phones die. So just, I've been really, just spending a lot of time with my family. And I've always done that, but like our time is unfiltered now, and it's not like based on a schedule. It's like, girl, you done with your 2-hour class? Okay, girl, what y'all want to do? Like, let's go take a walk around the neighborhood. So that's been nice. Also just allowing myself to like use my network and my platform and in whatever way I want to see it used. So like in ways where I might have been a part of, on a show and I had to promote content for that, or if I wanted to do something like, now I'm just like, okay, what do I want to see happen? What do I want to see in this time and that I can control? And because I think when this quarantine started, I had to relinquish control over things that like, all the bookings were canceled, all the gigs were canceled. So you had to just kind of like be like, hey, look here, all right now, whatever is gonna work is gonna work, and it's gonna work in this time. And so what I realized was what I can control is like creating spaces that I want to see. And I started a virtual event called The Sanctuary Live, a Love Jones inspired event with my friend Yvonne. And we just had a night of love and poetry and artists and singing, and it was beautiful. And I was reunited with one of my best co-hosts ever, with my brother Rodney, and we just literally spent 2.5 hours just talking about love. And that's what I like to do. I like to talk about love. I like to bring light to people, and I just like to enjoy the moment. And so it happened right before everything broke out in this time, right before protests started. And it was really nice. So I'm definitely going to do another one. But for me, it's just now like putting myself out there in all the ways that I can, and hopefully dating along the way.
Pray about it. Yes, ma'am. Because, we out here single. Some of us are.
I had to think really hard, and I'm very surprised that I had to think this hard because I had a whole Instagram post about it. I brought a bike.
Yes, I saw. I wanted you to talk about that. Yes.
I have been riding my bike, and it has been the most therapeutic thing that I never thought. No, let me not say never thought, because I knew that I needed to ride this bike. But it has been more therapeutic than I thought. I thought it was just going to be more like fulfillment of a childhood memory that I would constantly replay in my head with my dad riding up and down my street, my childhood home street, when I was like maybe 7, 8 to 12. So I finally got a bike, and I have been able to ride, and it has just freed my mind of everything. It brings me clarity. I was actually just telling Safira the other day, this is like my dance, because I used to dance as well. And being that I'm not able to do that right now, or not in the space, or able to take any classes, I have been able to use the bike as that. So I'll play music, and I'll like think of dance routines in my head. I'll think of just movement in my head. I'll think of like amazing memories. I'll look at the sun. I'll look at the trees. Like, I'm just really trying to take in the things that are around me and appreciate them more. I think with COVID, with the passings of the people, with, Black people in America right now, I'm starting to really understand the value and just gratitude and appreciation and gratefulness. And that has really been helping me with my peace. And the fact that I created a quarantine to-do list and added that to my list to check off has brought some fulfillment as well. Like the fact that I'm checking things off of a list, whether it's buy a bike to whether it's shoot a feature film, the fact that I'm slowly checking things off is bringing me joy throughout my days. That's like the only bit of joy that I find myself receiving within this time. So yeah, my bike is my baby, and I named her after my dad.
Oh, so beautiful.
Thank you.
That is so beautiful. Yes, I thought about actually getting roller skates because I live right near the boardwalk, and I'm about to buy my skates. You have inspired me because definitely when I saw it on your Instagram, I was like, okay, you know what? Stop playing. Go on Amazon and order it because it's already in your cart.
Yeah, because
it's already in my cart.
We only live once, literally. I know that's cliche, but it's a fact. Like, if you want to fucking get on roller skates and do it 3 times a week, then do it. Like, and then you'll find out how much you're soothing and catering to your inner child that you lost. And then you start seeing how freeing that actually is. Like, you start to open up, and this is what Rebecca was kind of saying, but you start to open up, like, spaces in your brain that you just never tapped into because you're allowing yourself to be free. Like, I don't know if y'all really understand how stuck I felt a couple of years ago, how the reason that I even started therapy, the first line in every sentence or paragraph that I looked for when I was looking for my therapist was to be unstuck. So doing some of these things, where it's checking things off of a list, whether it's riding a bike, whether it's, I feel like shooting today, I'm going to put the piece of content out, you start to realize how much you're catering to that inner child that allows you the success and freedom that you're looking for. And it's so much more valuable than any dollar amount, than any title that you can get at a company. And ultimately will take you to those places anywhere. Anyway, so I don't know. I'm rambling.
You said it.
Deanna, you look so proud.
I am proud. I'm trying not to smile like a weirdo, so I'm like,
I'll take it. Yeah. So, I see your claps. I see them. Thank you, guys. But it's a free
spot on
that I think all of you guys should do, whether it's dance, whether it's skates, whether it's that track you want to do, Gia. Go ahead and sing it, girl, and put it out.
Period.
Drop the track, Gia. Drop the track.
I'm so serious.
I'm gonna come out like her, and y'all not gonna know it's me. I just be like, damn, that's so fire. Like, I wish I knew the artist one. And then it's gonna be me.
No, we gonna know you. It's fine.
I'm gonna.
No, you're not. You're not gonna know
it.
You're gonna be like, oh my god, who did that? How did this end up in my inbox?
I'm leak it. I'm leaking it.
I put it on Deani's Listen to Black Women playlist.
I'm gonna be the next star of Deani's Listen to Black Women. So please watch out for me. Thank you.
I am. I'm definitely putting it on there. I have been working out and I enjoy it. I have started Insanity probably 3 weeks ago. And I enjoy it. I hate it some days, but I love sweating. I don't know what that means. I don't know why it's so therapeutic for me to sweat and like get my heart rate up and push it and do all these things, but I enjoy doing that. I dance all the time in my living room. I listen to music, old shit, and I dance like no one is, because nobody is watching, but I dance anyway. So I think those are the 2 things that I do enjoy. I go outside a lot. I walk a lot. And then like there's a dog here, so he's incredible and I love him so much. So we have a good time. Yeah, so those are the things I do. And I like reading, which is, everybody knows that, but I've been doing this thing with like highlighting stuff in my book now. I'm ruining my books. So I'm going through the past like 10 books, 15 books that I've read, and just highlighting moments that I know that I wanted to keep. I sometimes fold them so I know where they are. But yeah, I'm just going through books, writing stuff down. I keep like notes, these little notes, and I just kind of like being Mary Jane, put them all over the place. Yep, exactly. Put them all over the place. Yep. See, hello. So yeah, I enjoy doing those things, and yeah, that's pretty much it. There's no routine. Whatever I feel like doing, I'm gonna do, and that's been me forever. But carried on into the pandemic, so that's that. Yeah.
I asked myself a question one day. I was like, when did you start telling yourself no for the simplest things? And that kind of, started to inspire me to start doing things that just moved me. Whether it was like, similar to Alicia, hopping on a city bike and just exploring Brooklyn, or enjoying the fact that I have a rooftop that I can see the sunset, I can see the city skyline, or having friends that live nearby and going for morning runs with them, or having the ability to pop in and see my family here and there, or playing the music loud as opposed to in my headphones, just dancing in the mirror and just watching myself move. And I don't know why I started to say, or I said no to myself before those options even popped up. But when you ask, what are we doing to keep ourselves happy? I didn't know if it would be right to even say this, but I'm like, what's making me happy is that I'm making myself happy. And I'm realizing how much I'm choosing that every day. And I'm choosing better ways to speak to myself, like mentally and spiritually, calming myself down, giving myself grace, and just really patting myself on the back for day in and day out. Not every day being happy, but realizing that my happiness is coming by my own decision more frequently than it has in the past. So that's been like what's been making me happy, is seeing me choose happiness. Yeah.
Yes.
I just want to say, choosing myself in this time has been the best thing that I could do for myself and anybody around me. And I don't know if other people feel like that, but I feel like that. So hey, like it's really just Rebecca, choosing yourself is I just really take really from what you just said, because choosing yourself is what matters most. You can't, if you're not together, nothing else is gonna work. Nothing else.
Choosing yourself is not easy to do at all. I find myself in therapy. My therapist, she'll be like, I just want you to know the way you started your session was about everybody else but you. I need you to understand you put your wins at the end of this vent that you gave me. You gave me bullets of everything that other people did that may be affecting you, but you're not necessarily putting your wins first. I know it's so easy for us to say choose you first, but it's so hard to do. And I don't want people that are listening to this to think that there's something wrong with them because they don't know how to do that. You have to be very intentional with that. You have to be very conscious of that as well. And I think that's kind of what Rebecca is saying as well. She's making the conscious decision to find her happiness by making the choices of the things that she's doing to make her happy. So just know, like, if you're listening to this and you're struggling with the idea of why can't I find my happiness, or why can't I put myself first, just know that that's not easy for anybody. And once you get to that place of understanding why it's important, and once you start reaping the benefits of that, it's going to slowly start to fall into place and start to be a part of your consciousness. And again, give yourself the grace to go through the process of learning that, because that is a learned skill for some of us. I just want to put that out there.
Yes. And you're completely right. Every single one of you spoke word, okay, was saying, dropping gems. And I hope that everyone watching is receiving all of this, because this is coming from normal people that have gone through life, women that have gone through life. You all have, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. Well, to see that you all have learned from your experiences, and they haven't become, your excuses, because that also happens, and it's just a beautiful thing. I really do appreciate having all of you here with me today. Yes, this is our 1-year anniversary, Pink Lemonade, celebrated with Black Girl Podcast. This is a dream come true, honestly. And yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
me. What was your greatest lesson this year? Your first year, what was your greatest lesson with Pink?
My greatest lesson with Pink Lemonade?
Yes.
My greatest lesson with Pink Lemonade was, wow, that's a really good question. So my greatest lesson with Pink Lemonade is to trust in myself and do for myself. And understand that I'm a leader on purpose.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? I'm thankful to have an amazing cousin, Chloe. That's my cousin, y'all. And Shauna, they started this company, as they explained previously before the interview, for creatives that didn't have opportunities. Now, I had opportunities. I was, I'm still working, full time and stuff like that, doing what I love to do. But the road to even getting here was already hard enough. And to have this opportunity and automatically be trusted and be believed in, that was a major thing for me. So learning that I'm dope was learning that my words mean something. How I am is okay, because I'm extra. I'm all over the place. Y'all don't see it right now, but I'm dramatic. I love life. I love love. And that's all right. Don't be ashamed to be yourself, because it's not that, you have to be accepted by other people. You have to be accepted by yourself. You have to be accepted for yourself, and then other people will fall in line.
Amen.
And that's just a major thing that I learned working with PL, watching it grow from day one.
Yes, God.
And knowing that it will reach hundreds of thousands, millions of people beyond this time. That's why, I asked you guys, where do you see BGP getting? Or where do you see it going? Because that's a major thing too. You have to see the future in order to, get there. So,
amen. God bless y'all. I love that.
Good to know that, and I hope you know that we need you. Yes. We need the platform. We need you. We need all of y'all.
Thank you.
Because, no matter how extra or dramatic you think that is, to me, that's amazing. I love extra people. I love dramatic people.
Yes.
In spurts, but I love them regardless. You know what I'm saying? But we need you. We need you, and we're always going to need, Black women in every space, every kind. It does not matter. But yeah, I think that's beautiful, and I love your bangs, and I really want some.
Thank you.
I've been looking at them sweet bangs all day. I was like, woo.
Thank you. I'm giving you Selena vibe.
That's what I was going
to say. Yes.
Selena's. See, I went to do the red lip, but you know how to keep it pink and yellow.
I like it. And the lip liner, I love it all. Yeah.
And the boots.
That was so
good. And the boots,
You did good. You look beat.
Amazing choices you've made today.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So we can end it here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And yeah, stay tuned for some great things with Black Girl Pie.
Thank you guys for having us. Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, my name is Ramona Roberts, and I'm the editor-in-chief of PYNK Lemonade's digital magazine, The Squeeze. We cater to sharing stories of the up-and-coming creative. We aspire to share stories that are inspiring, uplifting, authentic, and relatable. And sharing stories like these are important because everyone needs that reminder that our goals and passions are tangible and that we should never downplay what we strive for ourselves. So to keep up with us, our past issues and issues to come, head to pinklemon.com, that's LMN /The Squeeze.